Yeah, I found the missing player. We found the missing player. All right, perfect. I'll tell you that story later, I guess. Top right side, our blue Terran is going to be Cure here in match number 1 of this winner bracket round of 8. So both these players winning their first matches today, getting to the top 8 of the winner bracket. One of them will have to drop down to that lower bracket. One will get to continue their winner's run, as we have MaxPax in the bottom left corner. Now red Protoss. Yeah, I've been missing the. I've been missing our player. This player I've been missing has been missing for literally 25 minutes. By the way, guys, so, basically during the entirety of Cure Geralt, I've been half trying to locate this player. So yeah, we should at least be able to focus up a little bit for this Cure MaxPax series now, which again has been a really fun series to watch recently. They've kind of traded matches with each other, especially in the WardiTV events. They played in the finals of the WardiTV January and the WardiTV March Open this year already. 2 Open Cups that were part of this winter season. And just a quick reminder to you guys that we also will have the resumption of the WardiTV Open Cups in April with $1,000 guaranteed for each Open Cup, because we got an amazingly generous donation to help support those events. So they will be happening. $1,000 per Open Cup starting in April. And I'm sure we'll see more Cure, more MaxPax, and maybe even some bigger names signing up with $1,000 for a one-day event. It's pretty enticing if I do say so myself, as this probe sits over to the side, chills out for a few moments, and just waiting for potentially a bit of a proxy. Obviously, it's always dangerous when you're playing against MaxPax. You know he can always be a little bit aggressive like that. So let's see what MaxPax wants to do here. This is a, it's not going to be a gateway, right? This will be kind of a wild gateway. Gotta be some kind of a tech structure. Oh, it is going to be a gateway. Wow. How interesting, actually. Gateway, not something I was expecting there, as the Reaper hops up and just finds it immediately. The gateway just doesn't feel well timed, right? I guess because we're going to go 3 gates and you build another gate at home. Okay. It's not a 2-gate gateway, it's a 3-gate gateway, in which case it makes a little bit more sense. I suppose if I was 3-gate, I was kind of expecting to see a gateway at home and then one on the map, but it was such a slight difference in time and it didn't really make a difference which order they came down in. Main point now being is that MaxPax has the information. He Cure now has the information MaxPax is known about on this 3-gate attempt, and that should give Cure the opportunity to set up defensively as necessary here. Multiple SCVs in the low ground. We will lose one. We've got another one built in the command centers. The Adepts cannot reach it. The SCV moved in a good direction at a good time right there. And we are going to be able to stay alive. 2 hurt Adepts, but neither going down. The command center getting to finish. And this is going to be a bit of a standoff for a few moments, as obviously MaxPax powers up the 3 gates of units. Meanwhile, Ryung gets ready to play... Why do I keep saying Ryung? Cure gets ready to play defense. I've been talking to Ryung, and I've got Ryung on the mind. And for some reason, I just keep calling Cure Ryung. I did this in the last series as well, so apologies, guys. It's got Ryung on the mind. Cure. There we go. ESL Open Cups? No, I was talking about the WardiTV Open Cups. We do a monthly Open Cup, and it was usually it was scaling based on the number of participants, but we got a very generous donation. That means we can now run a $1,000 Open Cup once per month for the rest of this year. So for the rest of this year, we have a $1,000 monthly cup, which is very cool. That's going to be part of the WardiTV circuit, and will build into the WardiTV End-of-Year Championship as well. Did Wardi just reveal the missing player? No, that's the worst bit. It wasn't even Ryung that was missing. I've just got Ryung on the mind, guys. As this 3-gate attack does nothing from MaxPax. There goes the Stalker as well, so that is going to be a cleanup. And that is just going to be that. Don't understand why people low ground expand versus MaxPax. Well, because it's still, anything that MaxPax does, the problem is if you don't low ground expand versus MaxPax, he just stops doing these things, right? 3 gateways isn't something you can't low ground, isn't something you just don't low ground expand against, so. And at the end of the day, flying the CC down to the low ground actually does kind of come in at a pretty big delay as well. And in theory, everything that happens in these early games on the low ground is generally defendable too. The thing is, it's actually harder to break down to the low ground if you don't already have a presence there than it is just to defend the low ground and have to give up a bit of space in the low ground initially. That's the real issue, because if you don't have the low ground, it's much more difficult to come down your ramp and take the low ground at a later point than just losing the SCV here, and then you probably have an even further delayed command center mining on the natural, right? And I mean, I don't disagree. MaxPax is very good at finding damage against the initial expansion and everything. And sometimes PLs do just high ground expansion, but there is a cost to high ground expanding. That layer of safety it gives you is, it comes at a cost. It comes at a price. So yeah. And you just low ground bunker, high ground expand. Yeah, but then you're still having like a 20-second delay while your command center flies into position. That's essentially taken a 20-second CC delay, which, in theory, you shouldn't lose an SCV building the command center anyways, because you could always bring it back in time. And the question is it more than 20 seconds delay on this CC that builds on location? Arguable, I think. I guess your next argument is then... It's funny, though, because also when you have to fly down, you have to make a decision. Do you lift up and then fly it and land it before you make the orbital or after? Because if you make the orbital first, that's also less time where the SCVs can't mine from the natural location. But if you make the orbital after you fly it, that's also a later mule. So then there's another kind of combined effect on, building the CC on the high ground. Yeah, I mean, it's a reasonable question. I just think there's enough reasons why Terrans continue to build on the low ground anyways, right? Push comes out from Cure. He has done a good job of cleaning MaxPax up this game. MaxPax lost a lot of units up until now, and these Blink Stalkers will try and do their best to slow down this approach. He is on his way to Colossus, but will have a Raven with energy enough for 2 Matrix, so he can knock 2 Colossi out of the fight for a few seconds. And that could be quite decisive as we get rid of the gateway, get rid of the pylon. That puts MaxPax still on 3 gates, finishing up a few more. We'll have 8 in total. See how aggressive Cure gets if he wants to keep going across the map. He has got a 3rd CC built, and he's down about 15 workers. You'd imagine he probably wants to do something on the other side, but taking a little while to get across is definitely going to go in MaxPax's favor. The longer it takes Cure to get to this other side of the map, the better and better this gets from MaxPax. And the more preparation time he gets, not just about getting Colossi up, but just getting your gateways online, getting a couple of warp-in cycles going, is going to be a major part of defending this too. Going to the front, a couple of Marauders firing, and the Stalker's taking some shots. The Colossi, the Zealots gathering up over there as our first tank sieges make it a second. Some Colossi shots getting their way through some of this Bio army. Just seeing MaxPax be pushed away to that bottom side just for the moment. But Wooden Mine is about to go off and is going to connect on the Zealot, so the Zealot will go down too. Cure still just sitting here out at the front, keeping an eye on everything. We scan up once more, keep an eye on these units, and he still has a full energy Raven to utilize, so if he sees the opportunity to dive on one position, you can almost guarantee that the Colossi on that position are not going to be a major part of the fight. Unless we get the Raven snipe before the Matrixes, which I don't think is going to happen. We just don't have enough Stalkers. Obviously, MaxPax is set up to come in from all angles. Upper right, bottom left. So here we go. Obviously, it's going to minimize the amount of splash damage you take initially. There's the Matrix coming down. We never got Matrix number 2 out, so the Raven nowhere near as good as it was meant to be. Great force fields. Pushed the Marines forward into Colossus fire. Wow. That was a really good fight for MaxPax. All 4 Colossi swinging away during this, and it's going to use a Stalker Blink to activate that Widow Mine. Unfortunately, the Zealot's kind of charged into the splash damage, but great cleanup from MaxPax. Just so much value found there. Does lose a couple of Zealots to this Widow Mine as well, so Cure at least finding something as he retreats and MaxPax extends across the map. And the force fields, I really have to say, were so good. Like, the extra 2 force fields that came down, it just pushed a group of Marines forward into Colossus fire, and it's the last place you're going to want your Marines to be. There's a little bit of Bio taking some shots once again. We see our Colossi pulling back again. On the left side, a few Zealots back up to the 12 o'clock, and we just kind of ping-pong one way then the other here from Cure. Just playing the defense. The Prism in the main base doesn't last very long at all. Only the unload, and whenever it's only the unload, that just seems a little bit more manageable, of course. And as we go after these couple of Zealots, knocking down one, getting the other. So both of those will fall. Disrupt about to finish up. Our Ghosts, Vikings continuing to produce here. We'll see more tech from Cure is generally going to be good for fighting this later game. Worker counts are pretty even, so not like MaxPax is mining too terribly much more than Cure is at this stage. Fusel's, I think, just got spotted there as they move forward, but we will not go for a chase down at all. Little scan to just knock down an observer. Pull back again. I mean, we've got Fusels from the right side, Fusels from the other. So we just go in with those. About 5 SCVs going down for the moment as we see a couple of Zels are charging up. Ghost Marines continuing to be in a little bit of trouble here as we have about 5 SCVs dropping off. Like I say, I mean, good to get rid of those. We have more Zels already moving. The rest of MaxPax's army in the center, though. Around the left side we go. Big Bioforce pushing in. This Nexus is going to take an EMP. The battery already dropped off. The Vikings begin to work their way through the Colossi. First one already taking a bit of damage. We'll see Super Battery keeping things healthy. Meanwhile, the Zealots are swiping their way through Mineral Line. That's going to become more serious in the next few moments, but I don't know if MaxPax has the army over here to maintain against this. Those Vikings have gotten so many shots off. These Colossi got healed so much, and the Vikings are still going. No Stalkers left. We're warping in a few extra, but every Colossus will fall before the Vikings are gone, and that's huge, of course. Disruptor showing up, but bases have already lost, and there's a base to this left side we could cancel as well as Cure. If he does check over there, I think he's going to find himself a Disruptor, though, so he's going to grab one of those. MaxPax firing one more Disruptor shot into the front, but not going to find too much. We just get rid of one mine, looking for another mine. The Observer is going to get picked off up in the high ground as well, so Observer also goes down as we drop this Nexus into play. The Bio Army continuing to press forward. Stem straight through here, aiming for this Nexus. Nexus is going to get knocked down in a moment or two, so that will drop. Nexus down, wouldn't mind to blow up another Zealot here, would disrupt a shot to, well, putting it up after. But Cure is up about, what, 40 supply or so at this stage, and it doesn't seem as though MaxPax has much of an answer to him. Just that fight was just such a endurance fight, right? And you can just see that Cure just got to this point where he just stopped losing stuff, and MaxPax is losing so much more, especially the Colossi, the Vikings surviving, and just wailing on those Colossi throughout definitely added to the problems. Bio knocks down a pylon, now a bit of army from the left side. We'll go diving. Boy Nexus as well, gets that cancel. These few probes, this pylon, also going to be nice little pickoffs. Shot fires, but doesn't land on the Bioforce. We fire again. So not good enough just yet. Popping a Super Battery, healing up the cannon just slightly. This army of Cure continues to back away as the Ops stands and watches. Just see our Bioforce working our way through the Zealots, and the Zealots really do just charge through. Bio lifts up in the medevacs, escapes up to the top. And MaxPax fighting back, not going to let this slip away. I mean, we saw him fight back in that Keller Zur series earlier. If you missed that, MaxPax had an incredible comeback in game number 2. So definitely don't count him out until this game is done, but this is now going to turn into a little bit of a base trade where Cure does have a reasonable amount of units to potentially slow down the offense of MaxPax. MaxPax is losing bases, and dare I say that obviously MaxPax losing bases is quite costly just because, well, I mean, I guess they're both on similar amounts of bases, so base for a base is decent. This CC is heading to the top left corner, by the way. Looks like Cure's just going to completely relocate with that expansion. can get rid of the Zealot over here, and still seeing force of MaxPax pressing through the center. I mean, he's left his disruptors behind, so not going to get those exposed or anything, but then you don't have them in this army either, which is scary, because if the Terran jumps on you, your disruptors are the unit that are meant to be able to help you get a disengage. The disruptors provide that ability to kind of just jump away from the army to not allow the engagement to, you know, carry on through. Now the disruptors are, you know, like I say, they're not here with the army, right? So that's a little bit of a shocker. There's a couple of Archons come through, the Stalkers go chasing, a little bit of the Bio getting hunted down already. The Zealots come across in the Bio, just getting up to the top side. Supplies have equalized. Now, it is still Q on a pretty good eco. He just needs to find a way to take the fight, and again, against those disruptors, he's been struggling. Same as Keller's Surge, the disruptors bought MaxPax a lot of time, and these few Zealots coming back to defend this don't look like they'll be enough. There is a recall option available here, but do you want to use it on this base? I mean, we actually start to get the disruptors back over here. Meanwhile, MaxPax is pushing into the natural of Cure. He's just going to run past this base and go elsewhere, look for maybe some probes or so. Is there anything from Cure left over here? He's reinforcing into his main. He's got army over on this left side. He does end up coming back and killing off this Nexus, so he does prioritize that over moving further into the bases. There's a lot of Zealots that warped in from that right side base, and obviously that is pretty influential at this stage as well. As those Zealots continue to charge forward, Bio just pulling up the ramp, and we will see base just going down. Well, I mean, those SCVs are still yet to die. The Bio's kiting over here. At some point, we can lift up and get out. That's one of the big benefits of this army, is that you still have the micro capabilities to just disengage in full. You've got the Medivacs to just guarantee your escape, because there's no anti-air really in this force. On MaxPax's side, just an Archon that can't go blinking underneath Medivacs or anything. Remember that Cure's mining top left during this. He's actually rebuilding his depot wall up here. Obviously, the depots could also act as some SimCity against a larger Zealot attack if it comes down to defending that location. So there's kind of a double whammy positive of getting set up there. Archons, our disruptors. Back down to the south in this game number 1 between Cure and MaxPax. Yeah, turned into a pretty great showing so far. Some fun stuff as we'll have one more Zealot getting knocked down by the Bio units and Cure. Well, let's see what happens. Stalkers blink forward, a couple Marauders get chased. Some shots fire through. Ooh, 3 Marauders going down. MaxPax's supply is hurting. Obviously, the extra workers that Cure has had, plus the fact that you know, those are still there, plus the fact they've obviously mined a bit more, so the army supply has grown. Is what's giving Cure a bit of a lead now, and becoming less and less a fan of this MaxPax army, which feels so reliant on the disruptors. The Archons, obviously, if they get EMP'd, will just disappear in an instant. Cure fighting from 2 sides. Feeling confident enough to potentially make this fight happen. Well, I mean, the Archons just disappeared there. It's not the prettiest of split against the first disruptor shots, but it's good enough, I think, as that one isn't going to hit anything. MaxPax swarmed in the end. His army was just a little bit too vulnerable, all said and done. And Cure is going to take map 1 of this winner bracket. Can't lose too many brain cells on match 3 out of 8. Bottom right side, it is going to be our red Protoss play from Psystorm. It is MaxPax. And he's down a game, taking on the blue Terran top left. Cure. Yeah, Cure really was winning that game for a while. It was impressive that MaxPax made it close again. A lot of good moves to make it awkward for Cure in terms of closing the game out. That was definitely a big benefit. See what happens going into game number 2, guys. Like I say, it's been a great first game. I mean, we've actually had great games just to start the day in general. It's just almost like StarCraft was just really good, because every day we just have really good games, it feels like. You know, it just doesn't feel like we have a bad day of games recently. We even had some really cool group stage days in this tournament as well, so that was also a nice little... Especially Group D, I think, was really fun. A probe scouting across the map to try and find some of this initial info. Obviously, try and tell if the Terran's on double gas or not, but this is just an expansion, so not anything too extreme there. Probe pulls back and heads down to the bottom right side. Heading back home. Nobody would win if both A moved, because then they wouldn't be on this level. Oh my god, actual logic. The thing is, what I really love about the balance discussion is that even though we just had like a 15-minute game or whatever it was, even though we just had like a 15-minute game, it still comes down to, how the hell is MaxPax meant to win that? Well, I don't know, guys. Maybe he shouldn't lost 40 more army supply and been behind on economy for the last 10 minutes. You know? Maybe? Is it plausible? Is that possible? That could be the solution here? Oh, yeah, who knows? Adept. Gonna go shading forward and away we go. Just gonna try and shade up this ramp, and not gonna find much there at all. A couple of Marines on the way out, a couple of tech labs coming down. Getting all of this set up at the moment. When is Clem versus Hero match 5 of the day? We finish off this full section of 4 players, Cure, MaxPax, then Keller's Geralt. Then we dive into Clem versus Hero, or Young versus Solar, winners match there, and the losers match there, to be done with our first half of the first and second round of the bracket. Stim Combat Shield on the way up from Q, obviously full on 3 racks play from him right now, so 3 racksing it up, bit of a change as our few Marines chase down an Adept, which just about is able to make its way out of there, escaping down to the bottom right corner. Stim and Combat Shield just continuing to come on through. Our Marines still producing. And our Factory and our Engineering Bay continuing up as well from Kia. So all of that coming in. Do have our depot going down on the ramp there. So just getting that wall off completed as our couple Phoenix come over. Gonna lift up one SCV. So first SCV goes down. Second SCV goes down. Obviously making use of these few Phoenix. But be very careful when you're playing Phoenix against a multiple racks opener, because well, you need the right amount of units, you need batteries to defend, you cannot be caught off guard against that first push, because it can be pretty deadly for you, it can be pretty dangerous. Marines continuing to hit at the Phoenix and just seeing the stim. Finishing up as well, do you have the Zealot, the Adept, opening on that Natural and MaxPax with the chance. Actually move forward, the few Marines come in already. Marines taking quite a lot of damage, actually. Are dealing quite a lot of damage on those Phoenix, sorry. And the Phoenix just flying on by, just, I mean, looking for some units over here, but if you get a couple of kills, we just got to make sure we've got enough at home. The Marines are just sat here. Yeah, there's an Immortal. There's a lot of units, there's batteries. What you are doing is you're stopping MaxPax taking a third base, just in case that was his intention. Don't know if it necessarily was, right? It looks like with the Roboway coming down, a third would likely have come in later here, but the Marines having this presence here definitely slows down the opportunity of taking a third. I mean, the probe gets in position, but the Marines come across. They don't see the Nexus when they don't see the probe because they didn't go far enough. So, yeah. It's not seeing that just yet as the Phoenix continue to pull back away in the center. Another gateway coming down. Nexus still coming through, a couple of pylons being built. One Marine trying to run up the ramp is just going to get taken down immediately by that group of units as well. So, yeah, just keeping an eye on things. Maybe feels like there's an opportunity here. Gets the sentry, so no force field. We get rid of a couple more units. Cure just finding a deadly moment to just dive and, again, see what can be done. Yeah, I mean, he does pretty okay, right? Just gets a couple of kills, no issue at all. Those few Phoenix still being turned away and kept back. And Marine's still trying to hunt them down, still trying to find a position where to make something happen there as the Marauders join back up as well. Phoenix move into the main, gonna grab an SCV. Still just trying to stay active with them. I mean, again, just feels as though Q's done a good job of at least threatening MaxPax to slow down what he wants to do in this game. Like, third base couldn't coming down for as, as long as he wanted it to. Now, Q goes on the map. We'll see what he does. And of course, at this stage, there's about to be a second Colossus. And there's no Raven to talk about here. Raven's been the star of the show in some of these previous games. But now, without a Raven, you have to imagine that this is going to be no matrixes, no lock-ons, no kind of cleanups on these Colossi. And so you would take Colossus damage running into a fight. And so then you have to be very careful about the fights you run into, because obviously that can become very deadly. Good mind fires. Phoenix takes a shot. Phoenix still just moving now down the low ground. We got a medevac out down to the south as well. A group of Marines will try and move into position. So a little bit of a drop as we stop by to check on the bears. Oh, the bear that's stuck on the log is still here. I never realized they moved this bear down over here. This bear used to be next to the main base, the one that's stuck on the log. This guy? He used to be next to the main base. I thought he was just gone. He was one of my favorite additions ever. I didn't realize that he got moved down over there. That's great. Fire Force is just settling. We'll come forward. Marines fire. Phoenix taking a little bit of damage as well. Now a few Marines will run in through this bottom side toward that Nexus. Trying to see what we can do. And we're just going to knock this Zealot down as well. So taking that down pretty much immediately. And the Phoenix is going to have, well, a couple of Vikings already on their tails. 2 Phoenix go down in an instant. So an immediate grab there. Next few Zealots just coming up. Bioforce still pressing forward. The few Vikings ready to potentially make a little bit of a play. Disruptor, +1. Couple of probes. You're just being very cautious. The thing is, Phoenix Colossus is not a style you want to attack on into, and yeah, I mean, that's obviously very apparent by how Cure is playing. He's being very passive when it comes to potentially moving forward at all. By Phoenix fly into him and he'll deal some free damage, and he's continuing to take position on the map, but let's see if he can do anything here. Maybe, shooting across the ledge, finding a shot on Colossi would have been nice, but it feels like MaxPax was fairly aware that could have happened. He pulled his Colossi back just as Cure was approaching, so cautionary plays from MaxPax. As we loop around the right side. We do get rid of one Colossus there, and we're going to go for the second one as well, so a lot of the splash damage already being lost. This Viking count is just at that point where it can power through units, and if you don't get on top of the Vikings and start clearing them up quickly, it becomes a bit of an issue. Disruptor shot here, clips only a Marauder. One from the other side, though, have to just split against this one. As we do see the Vikings commit through, they can really focus on the Phoenix at first. MaxPax is going backwards and forwards. That's never a good sign, because as you're going back and forth, you're just taking free damage on the Zealots. The Vikings land to aid this situation, and we are not in a position to win this at all, as MaxPax Cure is just going to wipe the floor. A carefully planned attack, right? It does, this was not just a push across, dive in, or anything along those lines. This was very carefully